Hey guys, welcome to the occasional Random Pastors blog. I wanted to take just a moment, we've been doing these now for a couple of weeks, and just really share with you. This blog is all about kind of inviting you into our family and some of the cool things that we get to do. And the key word there is family. I'm sitting in front of our Christmas tree, and in 30 days or so, there'll be a bunch of gifts, and our kids, and of course our oldest Tyler is married, so Amber will be here, and maybe some girlfriends or boyfriends as the kids get older. But I just wanted to share with you in the over 2 decades of parenting, some of the things that Steph and I have learned along the way, because I know a lot of you guys as parents, and we're not perfect in any means, but I'm so proud of who our kids have become and who they are, and the journey that Steph and I have been on for 27 years. It's hard to believe. 3 things I wanted to share with you real quickly that I think have made all the difference in our parenting. And I want to start with the most difficult, and I think it is discipline. I wanted to read just a couple of scriptures to you out of Proverbs. And here's what the wisdom writer says in Proverbs 13:24. He says, a refusal to correct is a refusal to love. Love your children by disciplining them. And that's one of the things that I learned early on. You don't want to discipline out of anger, but you've got to discipline. It's like being the referee or an official in an athletic contest. You've got to draw the lines, but then you've got to blow the whistle when they cross those lines. And it's the most difficult part of parenting. Kids never want it. They're always sorry. And as a parent, the process of discipline and all the energy that it takes to discipline your children is draining at times. And yet, what I've discovered is after discipline, there's a closeness and an intimacy with your kids that is really hard to explain. But you're teaching them the rules. You're showing them what's out of bounds and what's in bounds. So as they grow, they can determine that for themselves. And as the kids got a little older, we allowed them and encouraged them to make certain decisions. We'd say, hey, you know what the scripture says, you know the dangers involved, but you're in an age now where you have to make that decision, and whether it be what movies they might go to or what they might watch on television, or as they got older when it came to curfew and those kind of things. So I think discipline is so important, and yet can be incredibly challenging. So I encourage you, expend the energy to do it, not when you're mad, not when you're frustrated. Don't let that be the energy. Let the energy be the love that you have for your kids today and for their success tomorrow. Which leads me to the second thing that we've learned. And it's in Proverbs 22:6. The wisdom writer says, direct your children onto the right path, and when they're older, they will not leave it. And the whole idea there is to find out the way in which they're bent. Every child is different. They have different personalities, different skills, different gifts. And as a parent, our responsibility is not to define how they're bent, but is to help them discover how they're bent, to discover who they were created to be, and then to help them to reach that potential, give them opportunities and give them activities, and bring people into their lives that they can meet to help them become who I believe God has knit them when they were in Stephanie's womb to be. And as they embrace that, whatever that is, whatever they're created to be, there's really no greater joy than to watch your kids discover and then get excitement as they try a bunch of different things and then find something that they really do enjoy and feel called to, something they feel they're supposed to do, that they find purpose in. And there's some disappointments along the way as they're trying to discover, is it this or is it that? So don't get too freaked out. You know, if they start to go in one direction and you're like, man, there doesn't seem to be a future in that, or that's not going to pay very well, or those kind of things. if we do the discipline part right, and we do this last one I'm going to share with you right, they'll really begin through the process. And sometimes it's difficult to let our kids, as they're discovering that, go through some of the pain that's involved when they do make a wrong turn. And then the last thing that we've learned, at least as parents, is found in Colossians 3:21. Says, fathers, do not provoke your children lest they become discouraged. And I think you could say fathers or mothers. And it's this whole idea to be encouraging. I realized as a very young dad, and I didn't know how to be a dad. I was overwhelmed. Tyler was born 5 weeks early. And when they put him in my hands, and I'm like, what do I do now? And then Carson, and then Bailey, a girl. I thought I had 2 boys, and now I've got a girl. And but the one thing we can all do is be encouraging. And I really understood that when I came home from work, when Steph and I would walk into the house, we really set the tone for what that evening was going to be. If one of us came in and we were tired and worn out, then the house just kind of had a heaviness. If we came home angry, or we came home frustrated or worried or discouraged, that just like a cloud hovered over our home for that evening, or maybe longer if it was the weekend. But if we intentionally, and sometimes I have to stop the car in the driveway and say, okay, and get myself together and come in with a sense of joy and a sense of anticipation and excitement of what's going to happen in the home, either that evening or the next day, that was the spirit of the home. Now, there's a lot more that I'm sure some folks a lot smarter than me, and a lot of great books that are written that you can learn from. But those are just 3 things that in over 2 decades of parenting that Steph and I have learned along the way. And I hope if you apply those, discipline, help your child discover their purpose, and be encouraging. Don't downplay. When they're little, it may be a broken toy. When they're little, it may be something they were hoping to do that they don't get to do. And their problems will get bigger as they grow up. But don't discount even the problems that don't seem very big to you. Never say, oh, if that's the only problem you have, then you're going to have a great life, because it's a big problem to them in that moment. Be encouraging. Discipline, purpose, and encouragement. And I think those things go a long way. Once again, I want to thank you for watching, and appreciate it. I wish you'd give me a thumbs up and subscribe and share it along the way. See you at the next vlog. This one is over.